guys 1-2. What do you make of the overall effort from the team?
A win on the road is always a win on the road. I thought our energy in the first half by both units was great. Thought we didn't come out in the third quarter to put the game away. I thought we had a chance there. We just didn't do it. I thought our second unit came back in and lifted us back up again. And then, we got out of rhythm, started missing some shots. But I love their execution down the stretch. You look at the last 4 or 5 games, we've won a lot of games down the stretch of games, and that's what we need to get better.
Sign of this team's growth, winning games late, pulling together in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do it the other night, but overall, that's what we're starting to do. And we're starting to kind of figure out what we should run down the stretch without looking over at me, which is nice. That's a good sign.
Got within 2, I think about 4 minutes to play. You called a timeout. What would you tell your guys during that timeout?
Let's get some stops, You don't worry about our offense. I always figure we're going to get a good shot eventually. But you got to get some stops, and I thought we did that.
Blake's jumper had actually not been falling with as much regularity recently, so it's nice to see him make those 2 big ones.
Yeah, but we talk about it all the time. If you're a scorer like Blake or Chris, you have to be willing to go 0 for 70. I always yell that from the bench, 0 for 70. I mean, obviously you don't want that to happen, but that's the mindset you have to have. You can't worry about misses. They should be like invisible to you. To the average player, those mean something. To great players, misses mean nothing. You put in too much time, and I think what Blake is relying on is all that work he's put in, and now he's trusting it.
Doc, at the end, you had to go small with the Nets decline action.
Yeah. You're right. Sometimes we don't, sometimes we do. It really depends on the score. We don't mind the hack of DJ because usually we benefit from it, but we couldn't get a stop. And if we could have gotten stops and they did it, we'd been fine. That substitution is rarely an offensive substitution. It's more because if we're not going to get stops and they're going to foul us, then we have to make the sub.
So 24 game sample size. With those first 24 now, what are some of the things generally that you think you guys need to do better?
Well, we've been inconsistent, number one. Our defense is really improving. And if we keep on this track, we're going to be where we think we should be, because our offense is good. And our offense hasn't scratched to me where we should go. I know we're in the top 3 or 4, but to me, we're a way better offensive team than we've played. But if we keep playing defense, it'll make us a better offensive team. We'll get multiple stops. We'll get transition buckets. And so I think our guys finally are starting to understand the importance of that. And I think that's good.
How much of that defense improvement is DeAndre, would you say?
Everybody. DeAndre's been great, though, over the stretch. He's been phenomenal. But so has Luke. That second unit, Austin with his hands. You can just feel those guys. And those are the 3 guys who really put the most defensive pressure on. And they're starting to really get into it, and then everybody else is buying in as well.
Do you think Paul had that dunk left in him?
Well, it was hilarious. That's why our bench went nuts, because CP, the play before, during that timeout, said, that the move before, he said, Paul, in your young day, you would have dunked that. And then Paul said, I still can. And then he did it. I thought on principle, you cannot call anything. If Paul Pierce is dunking the ball, I don't think, even if he did it, you just on principle, you get a grace period after you get 36. If you get a dunk, it should count. That's what I believe.
Seems like JJ's been able to turn kind of a poor shooting night and
the great Kenny Singleton, guys. Let me say this about Ken Singleton before I go. If Ken Singleton had my speed, if he had my speed, he'd have been a 400 hitter for his career. Okay, you did pretty well.